This is Jamarl Thomas, and welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, on Mother Jones today, Democrats are desperate for Bernie Sanders' email list. That precious, precious email list. Please, Bernie! Please, dog, please, give me the list. We know we cheated you, but we need that list. It's all we have left. It's not all you have left because you don't have it. As the Democratic Party struggles to regain its footing following its disastrous November election, one vestige of the 2016 campaign is taking on much importance. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' email list. Sanders, who raised $218 million online from a record 2.8 million donations, rewrote the rules of email fundraising during his campaign by relentlessly courting small dollar contributions. So, and look, that's absolutely right. Politics has seen nothing like it. I mean, the man was a rock star. And for the most part, he did it using small dollar donations. He, showed the Democrats were full of it, because they keep making the argument of, we got to take this money, we have to take all this money. We don't have a choice. It's the only way we can win. And he gets across to the public that, look, the only people who's buying me is you. In the same way that when the rich corporations, Wall Street, bribe the other politicians, by sending me these small dollar donations, my job is to work in your favor. So, in an interview with Huffington Post in December, former Labor Secretary Tom Perez, a frontrunner in the election of the Democratic National Committee, says he wants to learn from Sanders about how he did it. How'd you do it, Bernie? How'd you pull that off? What spells and magic did you come up with to have that much success? All right. Keith Ellison, whom Sanders has endorsed for the DNC job, pledged to try to obtain the email list for the party if he wins. We're going to call on everybody to give all resources they have, Ellison said. We're in an emergency situation. I agree with that part. They're in an emergency situation. Whether or not people should give their resources to the Democratic Party, hell no. So Our Revolution, the president, Jeff Weaver, Our Revolution is the organization that Bernie Sanders created. And understand, Our Revolution to some degree was created to get corporate Democrats out of their seats. So even though Bernie Sanders is a Democrat now, he's actively working to get other Democrats evicted. I love it, man. I love it. That's strength. So Jeff Weaver essentially said, Our Revolution won't be giving over that list. And he shouldn't. People gave it to them, specifically. They did not give it to the Democratic Party. And there's a stark difference between those two things. They keep acting like this list is magical. The list is not magic, guys. Tom Perez talking about he wants to work with Bernie to know how he did it. Tom, you don't have to work with Bernie for that. I can tell you. Substance. That's how he did it. It's not branding. It's not magic. It's substance. The man has been in Congress for like 20-some years, maybe even longer. And for the time he was there, even at the time when the United States were socialists, or people calling themselves socialists, were being marginalized, he hadn't changed. He still considered himself a democratic socialist. If you're asking how in the world did he pull it off, he pulled it off because for all those years he was in Congress, for all those years he was working through Vermont, Bernie Sanders has espoused the same goals. Now look, yes, people change, but in regards to the core fundamental things that he's deemed necessary, education, jobs, healthcare, those things haven't changed. And he's been true to form this entire time, even while being marginalized in the Senate. That's how you do it. People trust him. At the end of the day, whether Bernie can affect his will legislatively or not, people have a pretty decent, good faith belief that from the time he wakes up to the time he closes his eyes to go to bed, that he's going to be working in the best interests of the public. And to some degree, he's earned that. Like, he's absolutely earned that. Again, this is an issue of substance. This has nothing to do with branding. These guys keep thinking, one of the senior advisors, Becky Bond, she made the point, they keep thinking it's about the list. It's so crazy. It's like someone who buys a $12,000 bicycle and thinks they can win the Tour de France. That's exactly what it's like. I'll take you one further. It's like somebody being grossly overweight, believing that they can make modest changes and lose that weight. It doesn't work that way, guys. I mean, in both cases, it takes hard work. You have to convince the public that A, you're trustworthy, B, that when you go into Congress, when you go into office, you're going to work for their best interests. People have become cynical, particularly with the Democratic Party. I mean, you guys have shown yourselves to be pretty empty in regards to what you guys believe or stand for, which is why I'm so adamantly against that list being given to anybody. Politics, and there's two reasons. So the first reason, politics is a transaction. I am giving you my vote. I'm giving you a particular donation because I believe that at the end of the day, you can affect my legislative will in Congress. I'm essentially buying you to do the service. It's just in case this particular service is to represent the people or the majority of the people in the country. If Bernie does not have a good faith belief that the Democratic Party feels the same way, then under no circumstances should he give them that list. I mean, at the end of the day, that would amount to fraud. It would be like saying, yeah, we're going to pass on this list, and the Democrats are going to try to co-opt that movement. They're going to brand themselves as, we're all progressives, like they did in a DNC debate. We're all progressives here. They're going to brand themselves. They're trying to do it now. They're trying to say, hey, we're progressive too. We're just like Bernie. I mean, we can get the list. I mean, come on. All of us are in it together. We're not in it together. Bernie Sanders should not give them that list. And at the end of the day, the last thing I want is for Democrats to essentially just lie and make shit up and try to elicit money from people who's scrambling and who's going to be actively hurt by the policies of the Democratic Party. Again, I keep making this point. 95% of the gains during the Obama administration went to the top 1%. Under a Democratic president. If you're getting people to give their last bit of scratch to the Democratic Party and money is being leached from them in that way, oh, that's nasty, man. That's fraud. That's not good at all. Those people are not going to get anything for any kind of money or donation that they're giving to the Democratic Party. The transaction becomes a ridiculous transaction. They're essentially giving their vote and giving their money for something where they're not going to get anything in return. Sanders has to understand that. In which case, he should not give them that list. Do not allow those guys to rebrand themselves. And certainly, don't be the useful idiot that allows them to do it. So on the second point, and this one has to do with the fickleness of power. Now, yes, oftentimes we see the figureheads of things, meaning we see somebody at the top and we think, oh, that guy's, he's throwing down proclamations and everything else. But power doesn't necessarily work that way. Power purely depends, in a much degree, on the power base. Meaning the guy who's in charge, the guy who's at the top, can remain at the top, providing he essentially stay within the bounds of reason of the people who's supporting him, if that makes sense. So think of it as think of Sanders' campaign, all this energy, all this momentum, all this movement. But when he essentially said, okay, now I need you guys to vote for Hillary because Trump is a menace, a large percentage of his group vanished. Yeah, no, this is where I get off. Sanders does that. It's like Sanders is effective because for the most part, he's meaning what he says, and he has a track record of meaning what he says. But the moment that he distances himself from that, the moment that he leaves that alone, or people believes, oh, he's just a typical politician, that support will melt away. Power is somewhat fickle, and it's purely dependent upon their base, the power base. Sanders' power base are the people. If Sanders does something to betray that, those people will go away. So taking the list is not that simple. Just because you guys get the list doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to raise money and stuff off that list, because those people may not see you as being credible or even a viable option. And like I said, the moment that those people don't think that, that power base is gone. I am absolutely opposed to them giving that list the job or look, the goal is to represent the population and the public. I have no good faith beliefs that Democrats are going to do that. Because I have no good faith beliefs that Democrats are going to do that, I don't want Sanders helping them in that sense. Yes, they're going to work together because he's technically a Democrat. But I gave you my number. I did not give them my number. And the majority of the people who I know who are consider themselves progressives don't consider themselves Democrats. They don't even like the party. Look, they're thinking that this is purely branding. They're like, how did you do it? It's not branding. It's skill, it's substance. It's meaning it. It's going in there, standing for something. It's, look, and don't get me, that brings power, believe it or not. I mean, I know some people say wanting to help or wanting to, like, morality is some kind of weakness. No. I mean, I guess it could be. But in situations where I am in defense of another, oh, I can be epic. I mean, and because you're not doing it for yourself. The things that you're doing it, you have so much more people depending on you that they're giving you strength to a degree to get up and withstand withering opposition. Democrats are so weak in many respects because they don't stand for anything. Because they don't stand for anything, they can't really dredge up anything to rebuff or even go after these guys. And look, I make this point of week. You know, at the point where they stole that Supreme Court seat from Obama, the Democrats were actually having this silent conversation talking about we're going to give the Supreme Court pick kind of a rough tumble, but at the end of the day, we're going to confirm them. And the Democrats were trying to convince the progressives to go along with it. That's weak. That's the definition of weak. So, Bernie, no, do not give them that list. They haven't earned it. And the last thing you want to do is commit fraud on the people who believed in you and who trusted you to take that list and to essentially try to change the United States with it. If Democrats want to do it, they need to show a little bit more than what they've shown up to this point. Because I am not just not impressed, I don't even think the party is salvageable at this point. So, good luck, guys. Yeah, good luck. I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.